Hi everyone. In this video, I'm going to answer which advertising stock is the best stock to buy right now. Meta Platform stock, Pinterest stock versus Alphabet stock. Which one of those three is the best stock to buy? I'm going to measure them across four different metrics, starting with revenue growth. So let's get right into it. And looking at this metric, what we see is a downward trend across all three of these companies over the last 10 years. They were growing much faster earlier on, and now that growth has slowed, turning negative 4.47% for Meta Platforms, 0.96% for Alphabet, and 3.61% for Pinterest. Pinterest is much smaller than the other two, so looking at it that way, you can say it has more room for growth, but its niche nature of its product and image-based social media site, I would say it's got a limit as to how many users it can grow to. It's got about 400 million monthly active users. That's considerably behind, let's say, Meta Platforms, which has 3 billion monthly active users. So even if Pinterest can close the gap a little bit, it can make a lot of progress in terms of growth on that end there. The next metric I wanted to look at was the operating profit margin over the trailing 12 months. And looking at this metric, Meta Platforms had the lead for a long time over Alphabet and way ahead of Pinterest in that matter. But Meta Platforms has came down in recent years as a result of its significant investments in the metaverse and the headwinds it's facing from Apple's privacy policy changes that makes it harder for Meta Platforms and Pinterest for that matter to sell targeted advertising. And so in the most recent quarter, it ended at 24.82% compared to 26.46% for Alphabet, and Pinterest way behind here at negative 3.63%. The next metric I wanted to look at is cash flow from operations to sales over the trailing 12 months. I want to see how good these companies are at turning sales into cash flow. That's an important metric for me. And Meta Platforms has done an excellent job of this, although that has been declining again from over 60% before 2019 down to 43.29% in the most recent trailing 12 months. That's still ahead of Alphabet at 32.35%, which is nearly double that of Pinterest at 16.74%. But you can see a similar trend across all these three, except for Pinterest, which has been steadily rising and then turned downward. For Meta, it was going downward and then slightly ticking up again, and Alphabet going downward and then ticking up and then going down again. The advertising industry overall remains pressured because of fears of an upcoming recession and the Russian invasion of Ukraine. And still, there are inventory challenges that makes marketers less excited about advertising, and so the advertising industry growth has slowed considerably. Finally, I wanted to look at valuation between these three stocks, looking at the forward price to earnings ratio. In this metric, Pinterest is the most expensive at 31.79, followed by Meta at 18.82, very close to Alphabet at 18.52. Meta's valuation has increased over the last few weeks ever since reporting better than expected earnings. Meanwhile, Alphabet's price has came down, pressured by the rollout of ChatGPT and the threat that could possibly be in Google search engine results, and then Google's response, or I should say its botched response with its own AI product that led investors to be a little more pessimistic regarding Alphabet stock. And so that's brought Alphabet's valuation down, and Meta Platforms' valuation has moved up. So to answer the question, which one of these three is the best one to buy? It's very close now. If you asked me a month ago or 2 months ago, the answer would have been Meta Platforms. Um, However, since Meta Platforms stock has increased considerably and Alphabet's has came down recently, and the investor outlook regarding these companies has changed from being pessimistic on Alphabet and a little too optimistic on Meta, I would say right now it's Alphabet is the best one to buy, and it's between those two. Pinterest is not close here. I don't believe Pinterest deserves this premium valuation right now, and so between these two, it's between these three, it's between Alphabet and Meta, and I would say Alphabet slightly takes the edge here, although both stocks are excellent stocks to buy right now. If you had to pick just one, I would go with Alphabet right now. All right, that's all I've got for this video. As always, I truly appreciate your viewership. I really, really thank you for coming on and watching these videos. There's a lot of other things you could be watching. There's a lot of other things you could be doing with your time. And I really appreciate that you're choosing to spend that time with me. All right, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time. I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/parkev for the 10 best stocks to buy now.